Should I stay or should I go? If you say that you are mine, I'll be here till the end of time. So you gotta let me know. Should I stay or should I go?
You're on location with Goldilocks Estates. My name is Gillian. I'm the proud founder of GoldillocksEstates.com and a licensed real estate agent with Coldwell Banker Horizon Realty in the spectacular, beautiful region of the Okanagan. If you haven't been here, you must come visit. Today, I want to talk to a few fence sitters out there that are considering listing their home, but are also debating whether or not they should stick it out and possibly renovate and remain within their existing home. So first things first, I always offer plenty of advice when it comes to selling and renovating, but I want to show you a little bit before I entered the clip as to what my home currently looks like. Backsplash still isn't in, and I bought this house, I'm embarrassed to say, but in 2007. And even more embarrassed to admit, my significant other is in the business of building. So we both have been so busy with our work that we just unfortunately haven't made our own home a priority, and life has gotten in the way, and hopefully someday we will get that backsplash in and have an entirely completed home. So rolling into the renovations and where do you start if you're on the fence, and which avenue is best for you and your family. I do suggest that you get to the core of exactly why you're all of a sudden discussing change. Why do you want change, and what are those changes that you're looking to see? Obviously, with a home that's located in a certain neighborhood and you're not keen on the location, maybe you'd like something that's in a little bit more of a suburban area, you're not going to be able to change location, so that may be a stronger priority of yours to look at purchasing homes in neighborhoods that are appealing to you more than your current neighborhood. However, if these changes that you're considering are more valued changes within the home, like adding more space to the existing floor plan, or maybe you need another bedroom because you're having more children, or maybe you're just sick of looking at that ugly 1970s lino or your vintage kitchen. Maybe there's a few things that you can deal with in your existing home that may not require you to actually sell at this point in time. So sit down, talk with your spouse and your children, get some input from everybody as to what sort of changes you may want to consider if renovation is the best route of action or course of action for you and your family. So once you've decided what those changes are, draft them up on a little short list. Determine what changes may be within your financial budget, and then what I would suggest is contacting a few contractors, and I don't say just one, I always say a few contractors and a few interior designers to come in and give you estimates so that you can gauge exactly ballpark figures to achieve that ideal home renovation. So once you've had those contractors through, take an average, probably add another 15% on whatever number you end up calculating, just because renovations often change along the way, and then take the outstanding balance of your current mortgage, add that all in, as well as your real estate fees to hire an agent, your closing costs, any sort of mortgage penalties. Get a sort of a bottom line figure as to what the cost to basically sell your house after renovations may be. The reason why I suggest looking at the renovations route first is because once you have that number, I would then talk to your real estate agent about looking at some homes in the area that are already renovated and selling, and see what market value is. Because if your house currently with its existing mortgage maybe being a little bit higher because you bought it higher in the real estate cycle, perhaps that figure, once the cost of renovations are added in to the cost of your mortgage, it may be a little bit higher risk to go the renovation route if you're just going to be breaking even at the time you go to sell the house, or maybe at the end of the day you're making a decent amount of proceeds, and based on what you'd like to change in your existing home, it may just be more feasible to go look at some of the other houses on the market that are available. We are in a buyer's market right now. There are some fantastic deals going through the system. There's a lot of families that are actually upgrading to their dream homes right now because they are narrowing the gap by maybe selling a little bit less than what they could have sold their home for a couple of years ago, but they're definitely making up for it on the purchasing end. So, start with square one, which would be what the cost of your ideal renovation would be, add all the numbers together, and really think through what you want your rate of return to be on your household, because if the number is for cost of renovation is quite high and your existing mortgage is pretty close to maybe current market value, it's quite possible that renovations isn't the best avenue for you and your family to head down. So once you have your contractors through, the next thing that I'm going to suggest is you talk about what type of quality material you want to put in your house. The first thing you need to do with renovations is edit any sort of design flaws and structural issues. Those always come first, and I always have an inside chuckle with a lot of my buyers because we'll go through homes where there are structural defects, and the buyers will actually overlook a lot of those deficiencies and get really caught up in the aesthetic renovation, which is very important. But I always suggest to any homeowner that they focus on the bones that ensure that the home has a great structural foundation, and then work inside to improve the aesthetics of the home. So once you are at that place with your contractor and you're talking about should I put granite in? Should I have more rock versus porcelain tile, or should I do hardwood floors? You definitely want to think about creating continuity through the household. That's very important. I surprise a lot of my buyers when I tell them 90% of the decision-making process is often up to a woman in a family that's looking to acquire a piece of real estate. So when you are going through or picture a buyer coming through your home, and their focal point is likely going to be in the kitchen area, you'll often get a dollar for dollar return on a kitchen renovation. Floors are very important. But the most affordable way to do a smaller renovation is start with paint. Color can really throw off any sort of buyer. You want to create some continuity through the household, and there is no easier way to do it on a champagne budget than using paint with similar color tones throughout the household to create that continuity, along with any sort of hardwood floor, cork floors. There's a lot of different material out there now, and several different suppliers that can offer terrific prices on improving the aesthetics of the inside of your home. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, if I don't sell with some of those government rebates out there, you may want to try doing it yourself. Now, this house that I'm living in right now is a do-it-yourself, and I have a spouse who is a qualified trade, and even then I'd have to say, again, life gets in the way. There's a lot of unanticipated issues that can come up with a renovation that can set you back financially, or even just not completing within the expected time frame that you'd hoped for. So really, I wouldn't say reconsider, but highlight the pros and cons of attempting to do a do-it-yourself renovation, because they are extremely stressful, and I'm sure there's even been some divorces that have come up from attempting, two couples attempting to renovate their own household. It can be a real money pit. So moving on, once you've decided on a contractor, contact your agent, let them know that you're possibly considering listing the home, but you're still on the fence. Go out there and see what's available in the price range that you'd be qualified for, because a lot of the homes that are out on the market right now are coming down in price. The Canadian Real Estate Association is actually predicting for 2011 that the volume of sales of units across Canada is expected to drop about 7.3%, which would be assuming 2005 levels. So if that actually occurs, which I'm assuming with their forecast, they've got a lot of figures to back up their forecast, that it's quite possible we'll be assuming close to 2005 prices. So if you bought early in the real estate cycle, you're still making a decent amount of sale proceeds. Maybe just, you know, selling the house and moving into something that offers that space and that quality efficient finishing without the hassle is your best avenue. You know, it really comes down to calculating what your existing debt is, and ensuring that there isn't a lot of risk involved with taking on a big reno, you know, or purchasing a home that maybe is at your ceiling price range. So I think that's just about it. I hope you've enjoyed this information. I've got a blog that goes out ideally weekly, but it goes out probably every 2 weeks, that will continue to educate you on the real estate market. And my website is www.goldilocks, Goldilocks. If you're looking for a hardworking realtor, be sure to give me a call. My number is 250-718-5324. We'll see you soon.